Okay, we're back, and yes, Avery's here now. So, Avery, if you didn't know, we were holding off the next one for you because we know you were in. Well, I know. I mean, I'm like the good friend, so I knew that you like this game that we're talking about. I'm pretty sure you can read between the lines, Katie. But anyways, Avery, if you're still there, we're gonna start talking about the next game, which they announced was called Spark, which is it's a game where you basically create your own game. It's kind of like I thought of Little Big Planet 2, where they push the limits where you can create your own game, but this one's like any kind of game you can create, and the art style was very Disney Infinity-ish, didn't you think?
Yeah, it was, and this caused a huge, and I may be exaggerating that a bit, a huge controversy with the game, but at the very end they involved Conquer. If you remember the popular game Conquer's Bad Fur Day, like everybody, as far as I know, has been begging Microsoft, or Rareware, since Microsoft owns Rareware now, to make a new Conquer game.
I like the way you say that, by the way.
Rareware, I'm sorry.
Rareware.
My accent doesn't help it, okay? Well, like, everybody's been asking for Conquer to come back all this time, and they only, like, as soon as he popped up at the end of Project Spark, and he saw that thing in half, he's like, it's been so long without a game, haha, looks like we'll have to make it ourselves. Like, that was a punch to the gut for every fan in that room. And I felt so bad, because like, I saw the video that John made. He was so excited. He wound up coughing up blood, but that's a different story. But I was like,
oh my.
I was like, why would you do that? Not your fans want this, and you're just like, nah, just make it yourselves. Like, Microsoft, are you serious right now? Like, I'm not even a fan of Conquer, and I'm mad. I'm like, why would you do that? That's a stupid thing to do.
that actually, and just for to be honest to everyone listening, I am somewhat of a Apple fanboy, but that does sound like
somewhat. We know, that's not a somewhat. Okay, you just admit it. Okay, just admit you are, because we know.
Okay, I might possibly have a shrine to Steve Jobs in my closet.
There we go.
That does very much sound like to me a Steve Ballmer type response.
Is it bad that I don't even know who that is?
Yeah.
I think he is still currently the CEO. He took over as CEO of Microsoft after Bill Gates was forced to step down. And he just is kind of one of these people that it's like my way or the highway. Yeah, that just sounds like something he would say, oh, well, if we can't make the game, you guys make it yourself.
You know, but in some ways, I think that's a good idea, because you either leave it into the hands of people who want it a specific way, or you try yourself and you're trying to only do it for the fans' sake without inspiration, and then they all bash you for doing them a favor.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, true.
Avery threw in a comment and said, nope, Ballmer's out as far as I know, and I'm not sure who that is, but I'm sure that's what Brent just mentioned.
I know he was going to be retiring. I didn't know if he already had retired or not.
So yeah, Project Spark overall seems like it's
It sounds like a pretty cool game. I remember them announcing it last year, and it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, and then I feel bad for the Conquer fans, because like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Like, that's only going to make them hate you more.
as Avery was saying, he said putting an M-rated character into an E-rated game, that was my very first thought. When I saw him announce, I'm like, oh, okay, so it's not really much of a help to the fans, because he's going to be like a completely censored version of himself.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that works is that he seems like a cute, cuddly, family-friendly character, which everyone thinks that if they don't know Conquer, they think about that, and then you realize,
and I'm one of those people.
So.
And I'm just sitting here like, rest in peace, Conquer, rest in peace, Banjo-Kazooie, just like, I feel bad for all
the At least you didn't end up the way of Mega Man.
Yeah.
Completely dead in the water, except for the
they don't
remake.
They don't even want to save him. They like want him dead. You know, it's bad when your own creators want you dead. Like they like shove it in the face of the fans.
And Sonic is like a zombie. He's dead, but he's still walking like the.
That's the opposite. They want to keep him alive while everyone else wants him dead.
like Sonic, please, Sonic, just die, please, Sonic,
Indeed,
please.
they are.
Well, if I had a choice between Sonic or Mega Man, I'd probably choose Mega Man.
Yeah, agreed. Instinct agreed.
Avery made a comment saying Nintendo's doing better with Mega Man, and they are, and along with Pac-Man, like they're bringing back all these dead characters we want to see again. Kind of. We never really asked for Pac-Man, but oh well.
Well, beings we're talking,
Fans would be happy.
beings we're talking about Mega Man, can I go off on just a little small tangent real quick and ask, is Capcom still around, or are they not the ones who own Mega Man anymore?
I mean, they're the ones that are helping. Aren't they in Namco helping Nintendo with Smash Brothers, which is why those characters are in Smash Brothers in the first place?
I imagine so. Like, they know that Mega Man is dead, so they're like, here, why don't you fix him? They're like, okay. As far as I know, Capcom? I think it's Capcom. It's kind of having money issues right now, so that could be why.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah.
I kind of hate to see that, because they were one of the big early Nintendo third-party developers.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, Capcom, we want a good Resident Evil, okay? Is it that hard to ask? But, I was trying to get back to the Conquer thing. It kind of... Everything when it comes to Rare, I kind of feel like my heart is broken and it's crying for Rare.
Yeah.
Because Rare originally... They seemed to be like more friends with Nintendo before they were bought by Microsoft. And so we got amazing games like Donkey Kong 64, which is the most amazing Donkey Kong game. No, I don't care. There's a lot of people who are into the classics and like, no, Donkey Kong Country. I'm like, I don't really care about Donkey Kong Country. And even with them bringing out the new Donkey Kong Countries now, it just doesn't seem that interesting. But a full 3D game that Donkey Kong 64 was, it was amazing. And I still want a remake at least, or a sequel. But it's like, none of that's going to happen because Rare is not helping Nintendo with anything. They're belonging to Microsoft.
You should count your stars if they're not making any of that. Or, like, okay, look, Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts completely destroyed Banjo-Kazooie. Like, completely. They made it all about cars. Making cars, friggin' Lego cars, and just driving around in this empty world in a place that's, like, it's like Fallout 3, but or like Fallout? Is it Fallout am I thinking of?
You're talking about a shooter, girl. I think you're off topic.
Yeah, well, sorry. It was like, it's so empty. It's a, what's the word I'm looking for? Overworld. It's an overworld that's completely empty, like there's nothing to do, and it's just about driving around and racing. That is not what Banjo-Kazooie was about. It was like a collection game where you go around collect things, and that's not necessarily a bad thing at all. And it's what made Camp Banjo-Kazooie so popular, and they just completely butchered it.
It's kind of like when I went to that Chinese buffet with Brian, and then I was excited to get those yeast rolls, and I've been to them, and they were like a pocket of air. And I was like, my life's a lie.
That is basically what Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts was. It's like Great Expectations, hollowness.
It was a hollow Chinese yeast roll.
That's exactly what Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts was. It's like, oh.
But I'm just gonna blame that on Microsoft, not Rare. But in reality, Rare is probably out of their game now, you know.
They totally are.
Microsoft's fault.
But you know, I can kind of, it's funny, because we're talking about the whole Microsoft conference. I'm trying not to bash them, okay? I'm trying to be good. But I kind of feel like,
it's in my blood.
when it comes to studios working with each other, if any studio is to work with Nintendo, they're going to more than likely get a lot more inspiration than working with Microsoft. Microsoft is kind of more like, stay on a certain track that appeals to these certain people, you know?
That is ironic. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Just, it's ironic you said it, because they did that in Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. They're like, they started out like they did in Banjo-Kazooie, where you're collecting things, and then they stop you. This freaking thing stops you. It's like, no, this is too painful to watch. It needs more guns and shooting, something that fits this
Are you serious?
demographic. Like, I am not kidding. That is what they did. I'm like, are you freaking serious right now? Like, are you seriously bashing your own legacy? Like, are you serious?
That's why companies like Rare, if they wanted to actually be bought by a company, Nintendo, stick with Nintendo. If you want to do your games justice and get like a idea of what you're going for, your style, Microsoft, seriously, I don't think you're gonna get that there compared to, a Nintendo.
Well, one thing that might kind of shed a little bit of light on it is, I don't know if this applies so much for the Xbox division of Microsoft, but I know at least for the computer division, I've heard on several podcasts that a lot of project managers will only focus on their project. They will not allow people from their project to help with other projects. I've even heard allegations of them going as far as to kind of mildly try to sabotage other competing projects to make sure that theirs gets funding, that theirs gets chosen for development. I don't know if this takes place on like the Xbox side, but if it does, that might kind of be a little bit why there's kind of some friction on some of the gaming for Microsoft.
Well, are you saying that Microsoft is the one that's doing that to sabotage others?
Well, not as far as Microsoft, say, like, trying to sabotage Sony, or I'm talking about managers of internal projects within Microsoft. I've at least heard this on the computer division side. Like I said, I don't know about the Xbox side, but yeah, like, you're working on, say, this one model computer, and I'm working on a model computer. I might try to do some things to kind of steer resources towards my way and away from yours to make sure my computer gets picked up.
Well, when it comes to Microsoft and gaming with the Xbox, they do a lot to try to win people over. They will pay companies to have exclusive download content and to have like the first, like, they'd, like, for instance, with the Tomb Raider series, they'd pay Eidos a lot to have the DLC only on the Xbox. So some stuff for the DLC was exclusive only on the Xbox, which made no sense. And they will do stuff like when we saw an E3 and we saw like certain games that were third party, it would say, get the first exclusive stuff on Xbox first and stuff like that. So they kind of do that to like win people over, and
and I would say that's not just Microsoft. I'd say that's a lot of the companies. It's just who's willing to pay more money to get the rights to that exclusivity.
Except for Nintendo, because Nintendo's not really in the zone.
So we kind of got off topic there.
Just
a bit, was there
Which-
anything else you needed to say about Project Spark or Conquer?
It's cute looking.
I think it will.
That's about it.
I think it will do pretty well. I'm interested to see what people come up with it. I don't really have.
It would be a good game for those creative types of gamers.
I don't think I'll be motivated enough to invest that much time. I mean, I tried with Low Big Planet. I was like, this is awesome, everything you can do, but I just can't. I'm sorry.
Avery says, I
Still prefer the Big Planet.
Yeah, me too. But you never know. Spark might still be good. They're both pretty different. I mean, Spark solely focuses on creative.
Honestly, it seemed more like a smoother version of Minecraft to me.
Yeah.
The first time I've seen it,
looked
not
like
this
that.
year.
Okay, but we can move on to next one if you guys are ready.
Okay.
Because this one I'm actually interested in talking about. The next thing they showed off was the art was very beautiful. It was like a Princess Mononoke Forest Spirit styled 2D platformer called Ori, or Ori, however you pronounce it, and the Blind Forest.
How do you say it?
Ori, O-R-I. And
You want to type it in?
I said,
Yeah, type it.
I said it. It was O-R-I.
Type it. Ori.
Yeah.
Ori.
Or whatever that thing's name, and the Blind Forest. That was the name of it, but I don't know about you guys. I was like,
Did anyone else notice that there was a no face in this game?
that's what I was thinking. No, it looked like the Princess Mononoke Forest Spirit.
Kodama?
Yes,
I
those
just put
those things, yeah.
I just put that into Google and I got a dwarf. Or not a dwarf, a hobbit. I'm like, what the frick?
Katie, why are you looking at pictures of me?
What? Oh, no, I know what you're talking about. I had to go back and look at the pictures. It does look very, Miyazaki, doesn't it? I like that.
It looked really pretty, and it kind of seemed like it was it could be like a really emotional game without actually having a very storyline. I'm not really sure how to word it. It may not have a very obvious storyline, but it seems like it could be emotional somehow.
I'm really glad that these bigger known companies like Sony and Microsoft are hiring these indie game developers and getting these kind of short little kind of guess the story type games. I really like those kind of games, and they really say a lot even though they're saying less.
But also some of those games, including this one, I don't know, is it exclusive to Microsoft? I don't know if it is.
I don't know. I don't remember seeing it anywhere else.
It's on PC so I can play it, because I think that was like the first game in the Microsoft lineup that said, ooh, I really, really want to play this.
See, when I saw it, I didn't even think of it as exclusive, because normally when they show these little ones, it's kind of like a lot of, with each conference, well, except for Nintendo. I always have to say, except for Nintendo. But like with Sony and Microsoft, they'll show a game, like for instance, Sony, last year was it? They showed off Kingdom Hearts 3, you know? And everyone's like, oh yeah, of course it's awesome. And then they're like, oh yeah, because it's PlayStation, that's where it should be. And then later on you find out, wait, it's on Xbox One also. So kind of
yeah, it's kind of because Square Enix is kind of in the red.
But also kind of like when it comes to the Tomb Raider stuff, you see it first premiering with Xbox, but that doesn't mean it's exclusive to them. So that's what I was kind of thinking about when they were showing this stuff. I automatically, for some reason, thought this is not exclusive, but I do not know if it is or not.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But I thought that one looks really good. But we can move on if you guys want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the next one they announced, which obviously a lot of Microsoft fans were looking for, or Xbox fans I should say, were looking forward to, was the new Halo Master Chief Collection was announced.
I think Jody died when he saw that though. Jody's like, oh my gosh, like,
No.
Kingdom Hearts. That's like, you know, that's my reaction to Kingdom Hearts, and that's your reaction to Halo. My Kingdom Hearts is his Halo or whatever.
Aren't you?
Pretty much.
Don't you mean you're his Halo? It just
shut up.
just floated right over him, my baby. I love you.
Danny, no, please.
And more.
But yeah, I know a lot of people are excited about this too. One thing I thought was interesting was they revamped the graphics from the ground up, so it looks like a legit next-gen game for the previous games. But they said with a click of a button, you can go like just flip right to the original graphics, which I thought that was pretty cool. They should do that with a lot of remakes in general.
So you can switch back and forth between the original Halo graphics and the new Halo graphics?
Yeah, basically they rebuilt the graphics from the ground up. So it...
Well,
oh, sorry.
Well, actually, real quick, just I know this is kind of slightly off topic, but maybe it's just like different things that you can choose to build with, but didn't they kind of do that a little bit with the Mario Maker game?
Well, yeah, but that's a lot more simple of a game since it's just a 2D game.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I guess you can say it like that, except for this one's not where you're creating your own. I was wondering how that would work, but they showed it, like, literally just flipping between next-gen graphics and then, like, the original first Xbox. I was gonna say Xbox One, but I'm like, wait, that's so confusing.
Yeah.
But,
Avery, just throwing this out there, Avery says, heck, I don't even like Halo, and I'm excited.
I was kind of excited for the fans, but I don't even care about Halo. I'm like, ugh, Halo.
Well, I know,
I'm kind of with Dani on this one.
I think Halo, the way that Microsoft has always looked at it, Halo is like the flagship game franchise for the Xbox.
He is like the Mario of Microsoft. Except for jumping on mushrooms, he's blowing them up and tearing their hearts apart.
Yeah, well, because see, originally, Xbox was supposed to be a Mac and PC game. Then Microsoft bought Bungie, and it was like, well, we're going to put it on the Xbox too. And they actually rushed it out on Xbox before they ever even released it on PC. So I know Halo has always been their big franchise, kind of like you said, their Mario or like Sega's Sonic.
Yeah. Yeah, whenever you think of Xbox, that's the first thing you think of, other than probably some people.
mascot.
Yeah, I was gonna say Call of Duty, but it's funny because Call of Duty is third party. But when you talk about to someone who doesn't know that much about gaming, right away they think it's Xbox. You just think Xbox. That's probably what most of the sales are on because it appeals to a lot of the shooter fan bases, which a lot of the fans on Xbox are interested in.
I've never played Halo, and I'm probably gonna be my head's probably gonna be up on a stick for that. But like
kind of like in Assassin's Creed Unity.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. That's what I'll be like. Just put my face over that thing.
Well, I will have to say I wouldn't mind having an Xbox to play Halo, but I think so far that's the only exclusive game that I've seen on Xbox that would make me want to buy one to play it, because most all the other games that I would want to play, they're available either on PlayStation or Nintendo.
That's my issue, because most of the games, if I were interested, are going to be third party. They're on there. They're first party or not really the ones. But sorry, go ahead.
I think the only other exclusive that I probably would have been interested, other than Halo, because Halo seems pretty alright, was probably Tales of Vesperia from Namco Bandai.
I didn't understand why that was exclusive. Just saying, by the way.
It technically isn't because there's a PS3 version, but it's Japan only.
What?
So.
Dang it, Japan.
Japan.
It's not like Japan has enough exclusive stuff over there.
Yeah, gosh.
I know, right?
But back to Halo. Another thing, it has the Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think it's Halo 5, the new one. I don't know, but it has all the previous ones. And one thing they said that was supposed to be really surprising is that they put multiplayer for like each one, even the first one. And I don't know if the original even had multiplayer, but people are acting like that part of it is a really big deal. So I'm guessing either it didn't have multiplayer or people loved it so much, and when they shut down the servers, everyone was upset.
That could be.
That sounds accurate.
Yeah, as Avery said, it's Halo 1 through 4, and the beta for the 5th one, which is the newest one called Guardians, I think it is included in that one. So obviously I think a lot of Xbox fans are going to go for that one. They had an announcer named Bonnie something that came out, and she's one of the announcers are a good example of one that annoy me. But like, she's clearly talking about a really big franchise for Microsoft, so she seemed pretty cocky about it, but it's like, you don't need to be cocky. But like, everyone was like clapping, she's like, I love you too. I'm like, you know what, girl, I don't love you, so shut up and just show the game. But I'm like, they're not clapping for you, girl, they're clapping for Master Chief, alright?
I will have to say, and again, for full disclosure, I am a total, complete Apple fanboy. You are ruined on watching presentations if you've ever seen a single Steve Jobs keynote. Both nights I was watching the stuff and I was like, yeah, Steve would have these people, like standing on their feet, clapping, cheering, standing on the seat backs, and I'm watching at the Sony thing, and people are very.
They'd be like groveling and eating apples. And have you ever watched E3 before this year, Franklin?
No, I've always heard or read coverage of it after the fact. I used to, for the last couple years, got a lot of my E3 coverage from a podcasting group called Twit. If anyone's familiar with Tech TV, the guy who owns Twit, Leo Laporte, he used to host two of their shows, Call for Help and The Screensavers. Well, he does his own podcasting network now, and they usually cover E3. And so I've always gotten a lot of my E3 coverage from that. This is the first year I've actually watched it live.
Okay, it's not the most eventful year too, but hey, you've got your E3 cherry popped. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
But that's probably why I was wondering, because it's not like the announcers normally are kind of like so and so. None of them really. Sorry, Avery, I didn't mean to put that comment in there. But actually, I did mean it. So, but so the announcers never really that anything special. I think like Reggie for Nintendo is one that obviously stands out. I think it was around Yeah, I think around 2 years ago they had Toby Turner of Tobuscus from YouTube representing Ubisoft, wasn't it?
Really?
You don't remember that?
Really?
You guys
No.
don't remember that? Come on.
It's been too long.
I
He was
Ubisoft,
well,
so
well, he was literally there on stage announcing the games. I was like, wow, this is like a big promotion for, I guess, both Ubisoft and Toby, because he has a huge fan base, you know, and him in games. So I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I don't really care about Toby Turner that much anymore, but I was like, hey, that's a good move on their part. This year, there wasn't really that any special announcer. There was one who I loved, but we won't get to that until later. But
Icky.
but let's move on to the next game.
Okay.
So, from the creators of Limbo, which I don't know if you guys ever played that game. I played that game like over and over. I loved it.
It was great.
I ended up wanting to record it, and I did a speed run, and I won the whole thing in 1 hour. And then I lost my recording, and I cried. But that was like a really good puzzle game, and it had like a very emotional style, and it was one of those where you were trying to piece together the storyline as you went along, but they're not like forcing a storyline on you. The cool thing about it was right through the whole thing, and you get to the very end, and it kind of has like a impacting yet simple ending. It's still like left up to you to decide what the story means to you. So I thought that was so creative. It's so artsy. So when I heard that a new project from the Limbo creators was coming out, like, I gotta see this. So they showed this game called Inside.
Yeah.
And it looks like a very similar, whereas emotional field, where you have to piece together your own, what the story means to you, but it looks like it's like a way more darker and emotional story compared to Limbo. It looks
Like,
really cool.
If you pay close attention to the freaking trailer, this kid's being chased by like dogs and people with weapons. It's just like, what? Like, what the heck is this?
Yeah, it kind of seems like I don't know, it kind of seems like it was like a government that's overrun or something. I couldn't really tell, but it seems like something like that.
Whatever it is, it looked really fascinating.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to be looking out for that. I don't know about you guys, but you should check out Limbo too, because it's good.
Yeah.
So we can move on to the next game if you guys want.
Them spiders, though.
I figured that was probably your favorite part of Limbo.
Oh, definitely.
But the next game they announced, which was the whole highlight to me of Microsoft's conference, was a trailer of the new Tomb Raider. Well, not a trailer; it was a teaser. So when this started, it kind of had a Alice Madness Returns feeling, where it's like a sequel to a game where a girl is kind of like haunted by her memories and trying to get through that, and then you're trying to figure out, who is this hooded character, what is this, and then as it went on through the middle of the trailer, you're already like, oh yeah, it's obviously Lara Croft. if people didn't piece that together, I'd be like, are you serious? You should know by now.
Yeah, like, I could tell it was her just as soon as she made it, like, a little noise, like a grunt. I'm like,
is that how Lara sounds?
That's another she's like,
But yeah.
As soon as
that
happened, I was like, oh, I gotta text my sister. She's off at camp right now. So I was like, hey, you Tomb Raider. She's like, are you serious? Like, oh my gosh. Like, she's freaking out.
So as you guys may or may not know, I consider myself a huge Tomb Raider fan. I've loved it for the longest time. Maybe I wasn't really into it at a young age with the real classic ones, but I still admire those ones too. But my very first one was I think Angel of Darkness, which is the last one by the original creators, and that one's a disaster and a masterpiece all at once. It's so hard to explain. But I really loved the new direction Square helped Crystal Dynamics go with the new reboot. That's everything I ever wanted from the series when I was going through, and I was like, they should make her more convincing, and I think they struggled with that as they were going on with games like the Tomb Raider Legend didn't seem really much like that. They kind of did, and then as it went on, especially with Underworld, it was kind of like really forced. They didn't know how to appeal to the original fan base and do that. So I think when Square bought Eidos and then like made them have like the inspiration they need to reboot the whole thing, it is the only way to do it. So now we have this much more meaningful character. So if you guys didn't play the original Tomb Raider reboot, which shame on you, it's an
Shame on me.
it's an awesome game, and you get really attached to Lara and see how she evolves as a character. It's amazing. So obviously, and that one had an amazing trailer too. It was still better than this one's, the original trailer. But that one had a very emotional trailer. And then when you see this one, it was still very awesome too. So you see that she's basically struggling with her memories and that. So that's about everything they showed about it though. But it makes me kind of wonder how they're going to go about that. But I really like seeing that more vulnerable side of Lara overcoming her fears and stuff. It makes a much more convincing, powerful character. But yeah, if anyone else wants to talk about that, I know I talked a lot about, but Lara's my boo, you know.
I don't really have much of an opinion on the Lara Croft series. I've never played Tomb Raider.
Sorry.
This is me we're talking about.
Yeah.
Try to remember that.
You
I
Japanese
do a
fan.
whole lot of Western stuff.
Hey, Square
did
owns it. You
watch-
have an excuse now, okay?
But I have seen the movies when I was little. I don't know if those are considered good or bad.
They
know.
were like, they kind of had a huge impact on game movies, so they were like the very first to do really well. I think they're
alright,
they're
so
good
they're
at
good.
yeah they're good as movies, but they're like a very generic action movie. It's not very. It doesn't really represent the
Fair
games. It doesn't represent the games.
Are they at least better than the Mario game movie?
I think everything is better than that.
Yeah. That's like,
I remember that.
That's like Last
Just
Airbender
barely,
level. Don't go there.
Yeah.
Well, Angelina Jolie being them is enough of a reason for them to be good, but
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Avery says, see, I originally thought it was originally a book that got turned into a game and also a movie.
that would be
That'd be likely.
interesting. But no, Tomb Raider started out as a game. I would
Yeah.
know because I was a total Tomb Raider newbie. I'm just gonna claim I'm not anymore, but we won't get into that because we'll be here all day. But yeah, the movies are good. Also, another cool thing to keep in mind is they're planning on hopefully rebooting the movie franchise too, which sadly means Angelina is not going to be in it. Only because, well, first of all, Lara's a younger character now, and Angelina said she wants nothing to do with Lara Croft. She said that soon after she did the last Tomb Raider movie, because she said she basically made it clear like she was sick of it. But I guess maybe after so much padded bras she had to wear and stuff.
The same thing goes for Daniel Radcliffe for Harry Potter. He says he doesn't want to return to that role for some reason.
Oh, really?
Well,
Yeah,
Heard about
just
that.
gotta respect
She'd
that.
rather go nude on stage, right?
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
what it might be is a lot of times actors, particularly if they get established with a certain character or a certain type of role early on, they kind of get typecast as that, and so every movie that anyone comes to them is basically that role or that character all over again. I know that's like Bill Murray, very well known for being a comedic actor. I think a large part of the reason why he did Lost in Translation is because, for years before that, he was sick of being typecast as in all these comedy movies. He wanted to do a serious movie, and Groundhog Day was kind of an attempt to do that, but still kind of a dark comedy movie. He wanted to do a serious role for years. So yeah, I can kind of see that where people might be like, okay, yeah, I'm never doing that or anything like that ever again. I want to do other stuff.
Sadly, that happens with a lot
That's
of actors.
totally understandable.
Like, what's his name who plays James Bond? He doesn't want to be James Bond anymore, but everyone knows him for that. Tyler Perry, everyone knows him as Medea. He doesn't want to do that.
You mean Daniel Craig?
Yes, that guy.
Oh, I didn't realize that because he is so good at it, but I can kind of see that because he can do other stuff besides that.
Yeah, but we are really derailing. But I just want to go back to the whole movie thing, saying they're rebooting it and they want to focus on the whole thing, like the original reboot of the movie. So it's either going to be retelling the story of the reboot, or it's just going to be in the style of it. So it's supposed to be a lot more darker take on Lara, becoming who she is over time, starting from the very bottom. So I think that's an awesome concept.
Alright, I actually had to check that out then.
Yeah, because that worked well, obviously, for the reboot of the game in general, so that'd be awesome to see movie form. But yeah, Tomb Raider, can't wait, super excited. I'm probably one of the most excited people.
Of course.
Okay. The next game they announced was The Witcher, which...
that's supposed to be really, really popular among the masses.
This is one of those things I'm lost about, where it's like, it seems too similar like other RPGs like Dragon Age, and I just don't understand what the big deal is. But I don't know if there's a huge following or not, then good for them. Yeah, you get a new Witcher, good for you. But I was just like, it doesn't make a difference to me. Anyone want to actually talk about that game more?
I kind of just wonder what the... I literally know nothing about the series. I didn't hear about it until like last year.
Really?
I was kind of hoping someone would explain it, but apparently I'm out of luck.
It's kind of like the first time you learn about sex. I'm just kidding. Anyways.
Well then, I know what this is being rated.
Anyways, next one. So the next thing they announced was Phantom Dust, and I was really lost watching this. I was like, okay, what is this? It's supposed to be so-called reboot. I'm like, what is it rebooting? What is it now? What is happening? What is this?
What did you say the name was?
Phantom Dust.
Phantom Dust.
It just showed two characters in a park and like glowing magically like magical girls with their magical powers, and they like started attacking each other and buildings are falling down. I was just kind of like, what is this? But people were excited, like, woo, we get a reboot. I'm like, good for you.
It's kind of hard to hear you. I hear something kind of loud in the background. Does anyone else hear that?
Yeah, I hear it
in
too.
Mine or Franklin's?
I don't know what it is. It's like, that's totally what that sounds like.
Is it still doing that?
It's kind of getting quieter now.
Okay. Well, anyway, I guess no one really cares that much about Phantom Dust, because I don't know what it is, but bravo to you guys.
I'm so confused.
I've heard, Avery says, I've heard of Killer Instinct and thought it was cool when that got rebooted. What? Yeah! Sorry.
The fighting game?
But this is just meh.
Alright.
Okay, well, we can talk about the next one, which was a new Tom Clancy game. And I don't know about you guys, but I didn't even really realize that it's been like 6 years.
Clancy Splinter Cell?
That was one of them. This one was, that was one of the old ones. Tom Clancy, it's called The Division. And Tom Clancy games really, they said it's been 6 years since they made them. I was like, really? I didn't notice. Mostly because they just didn't stand out to me. When they were showing this one, the only thing that really made a big difference, well, didn't really, what stood out to me was the actors who were so-called quote-unquote playing the game. They clearly were very scripted, but it was like they were professionals at pretending they were playing a game. So I'm like, this is nothing what it would sound like if I were playing that, you'd hear me saying, Katie, I'm shooting you in the butt, or something like you wouldn't hear me saying, go, 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 I'm reloading and stuff like that. But
for the most part, I thought it was pretty fascinating. It kind of brought back some memories of The Last of Us, just not as it doesn't stand out as much as The Last of Us. I liked the voice acting as I kind of liked it.
Yeah, it was. That's the funny thing. It stood out to me because normally they have people who are like forced and acting like they're playing the game. These people like are experienced at fake scripted playing games. It was weird. It was so well done that I couldn't tell if they were saying it or if it was happening in the game.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, maybe it is a game. Maybe they're playing some sort of game. That's the weird thing. It's like it's a game within a game.
Oh my gosh, Gameception. Well, I couldn't tell if that was, you should lay off the beans, or... we can...
I thought it was really cool, though. Like, maybe, I don't know if I'd buy it. Maybe if I saw more of it, maybe if I get more information on it, or just get a chance to play it, some of it, without having to buy it, maybe I would like it.
It could be a fun multiplayer experience.
Yeah.
Okay, but the next game I'm sure stood out to quite a few people. We saw like this suddenly like forest scenery, and then you see this like Dante Devil May Cry-ish character. I'm like,
I know,
I'm like, Dante, what are you doing? And he puts on his headphones and starts blasting music, and then he starts fighting dragons. I'm like, what is happening?
I honestly thought that was a woman at first. I was like, hey, she's pretty, and then like I got closer, I'm like, oh.
I literally thought it was Dante. I'm like, why does he look weird? And why is he wearing headphones? What is he listening to? Why is he fighting dragons? And then...
You guys are talking about Scalebound?
Yeah, then they announced it was called Scalebound.
I think this might be the actual Western RPG that I want to play. It looked legit cool.
It looks pretty interesting. I mean, it kind of looks... It's like a combination of Devil May Cry and Monster Hunter. But, it was funny because when he was like wearing his headphones while playing, I was like, you know, that would be me if there were like a dragon apocalypse. I would just like put on my music and start fighting off the dragons.
Speaking of which, it reminds me of another thing we saw at E3, but I don't know if it was part of the Microsoft showing or not, I can't remember, but I thought it was hilarious. I was dying throughout this trailer. Not this trailer, but this other trailer that I'm referring to, where it also involved a man putting on headphones when he's bitten by a zombie and he's just jogging like
oh,
it's no
you're
big
talking
F.
about Dead Rising 3.
Yeah.
Or 2, sorry,
Like,
2.
Yeah, whatever that.
Not Dead Rising, Dead Island. Oh my gosh, Dead Island 2.
Goodness. Like, I was laughing the whole time.
I thought the trailer was funny. I know some of the people who were covering E3 for, I think I was still watching Twitch at that time, was like, you know, yeah, they kind of did a funny trailer for one of the previous games, and it really worked, you know, get publicity for it, make people interested in it, and they're like, I'm not too for sure if it's going to work this time, and I'm kind of like laughing my rear end off and thinking this is so funny, particularly whenever, you know, like the very, very good looking, obviously keeps himself in shape, blonde guy's running by the woman and, you know, kind of like shows off, you know, his six-pack, and she's just like, oh my, and like two zombies come from like either side and just like chomp into her.
I was laughing so hard. I was like,
that was hilarious.
I don't know about you guys, but if you remember, the original Dead Island had one of the most well-received trailer for a video game in a long time.
I remember
It was pretty emotional, and then when you play it was a really good trailer, and when you play the actual game, you're like, this is nothing like the trailer. But overall, I was one of the few people that thought, even if with all its flaws, I thought Dead Island was pretty cool. Then when they released Dead Island Riptide, it was like, this is a sequel? It really felt like just DLC, in honesty. And that's why I think when they announced this one, which first of all, its trailer kind of makes it seem like it's their comeback. It seems like they more discovered their style more. I think that trailer suits the game more, and I think maybe they can do better with this. I think that's why they called it Dead Island 2 this time, because it's the legit next installment.
Did anyone realize that was Jack Black's voice at the end of that trailer? I was laughing even harder then. I was like,
what? Really?
Yeah, he was like, he picked up that leg. He's like, no, dude, look at his hat. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is Jack Black. It's Poe.
I think you had mentioned that on Facebook whenever we were watching that. But then, yeah, later on, whenever I saw the trailer again, someone mentioned that. Oh, I didn't realize that was Jack Black until someone said something, and he's stealing the dead zombie shoes.
Oh god.
That was awesome. I mean, he's like holding him up to his shoe, and he's the same size, and the other guy in the vehicle's like, come on, let's go. And he's like, no, just a minute. And he literally takes not only the guy's shoes,
He takes the leg,
but
no?
his feet and legs are still sticking out of the shoes.
I wasn't sure if I was the only one that noticed that. I'm like, oh come on, just take off the shoe. Why do you gotta carry the whole limb with you?
It was great. I loved it.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was one of the funniest trailers I think I saw of all of them.
Yeah, And whenever I see that in like movies and stuff, I think that would be me in Apocalypse. I'd just steal stuff because it's the one justified time you can.
And I love how he doesn't care. He just got bit and he's like, whatever. He's just running, exercise. He's like, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die
Fabulous.
And then another thing, whenever the van pulls off, there's like this fitness billboard. I can't remember what it says, something like, like get fit or something like that. But did anyone else think that looked like the zombie runner guy?
Was the man. It was.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I think that things are looking up for them. I think the developers are Deep Silver. I think that's the name of them. But yeah, I know there was a lot of fans for Dead Island in general. I guess I was also kind of surprised because I thought they were moving away from that with their Dying Light. Is that the name of it? Dying Light? I'm really anticipating that. It looks like a lot more of a serious Dead Island with Mirror's Edge parkouring kind of way. That looks awesome, and I'm still waiting for that. But I'm surprised they're still going back to Dead Island after that. But hey, they have a fan base for that, so hey, if it's anything like their improvements with Dying Light over the original Dead Island, then I think it's gonna do pretty well. But yeah, we can move on to the next game if you want. And in all honesty, that wasn't even part of the Microsoft conference, but hey, we've gotten into detail. But the last game that they showed, which kind of was like a huge highlight to Xbox fans, I don't know if it's exclusive to Xbox, I don't know what it was because I never played it, was Crackdown. I guess that's a new reboot. I don't know if you guys remember, it kind of showed a trailer of like an open world and like really pretty lights with the cars, and he's like driving on a broken building, and then like everything's exploding, the buildings are falling, and then like it zooms out of the whole city from a top-down view, and it says Crackdown. And apparently the crowd were cheering very loudly for that game, so I'm like, But apparently it's supposed to be like bringing an old series back to life or something, so I think a lot of people are happy about that. I don't know what it is, though, do you?
I don't.
Okay. Wow. So I guess we don't really have much to say about that. But,
no.
Nope.
But then Microsoft closed once again with the reminders, we are focusing on the gamers and stuff like that, and they were thanking everyone for their support and stuff. So clearly Microsoft is trying to remind everyone, we haven't forgotten about you, okay? We are sorry that we were really stupid a little earlier, but we are changing. So hey, maybe they can live up to their promises, Good.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, good for them. I mean, it doesn't make a huge... Oh yeah, wait, no, I don't think that was announced till one of the later... Yeah, that wasn't announced till the later conferences that we're going to talk about, Avery. That wasn't in Microsoft's. But, yeah, that basically covers all of Microsoft's. But
Okay.
I'm going to stop this recording here, and then we'll start a new one to start talking about your favorite, EA. Fuck.